Yeah, that's the point of a stream, by the way, pal. If the representative needs to watch this from his Ohio office.
Uh, okay, it started.
Indeed. You see, Dan is a tremendous contributor here on the TWR network. They're catching all the audio. They can the hot mic moments right now. Good evening and welcome to this busy Monday news night and special edition of Thompson. We are here again to once again continue the war on degeneracy. We are saddened to say that Whitaker is no longer going to be on the air. Tom has been killed by degenerates. This is terrible. This just shows that the war on degeneracy has reported its very first casualties as we conservatives try to ensure that the entrenched cultural war does not destroy more of our own kind. Continuing onwards, we need to discuss the war on degeneracy having tremendous impact on the economy of Canada. This evening, we just received an analysis from economic experts and specialists on TWR Business, which have reported that degeneracy affects the economy. What does this mean? It means that we're going broke. We are going broke. And why is that? Because terrible leadership under the former Minister of Finance, Derby, has resulted in us in going broke. He has decided to, instead of, fixing the economy, fixing the Trello boards, actually making Trello boards, registering businesses, he decided, let's go promote to Latin American countries his failed budget airlines called Porter Airlines. Porter Airlines is part of a corrupt shell company scheme. We are not sure if it has any impact, but it's clearly influencing government decisions. This is terrible. And because of him focusing on his budget airlines, we have not had a Minister of Finance for a month and a half who was, doing his job. With that unfortunate situation, we need to go on to his failed media network, Fake News True Media, just like Fake News CBC. They're working hard to weaponize the media against the Canadian people. They're working hard against you. They're trying everything they can to spread misinformation, false news, false agenda, false rhetoric that is blatantly anti-you, anti-Canada. So whenever you see a CBC post, just remember, it is anti-Canadian, they are against you, and that is just the beginning of a destructive rhetoric here on our media network. They do not report the facts. When they give responses, it's all mostly one-sided. They never give a response to that one side. This is clearly to portray some anti-Canadian agenda, and people, when they look at the CBC, they should meet it with a new form of skepticism. This is not your average CBC. This has a weaponized CBC that has been enabled since Derby was president. He allowed it to carry on for months, and this is just the beginning of the end when it comes to media integrity. That is why we're glad that TWR will continue to promote the true facts as they are, and we will always offer compelling analysis, both sides of the debate at all times. So with that, we're going to get started on other discussions regarding the war on degeneracy and other impacts that we have seen recently here on TWR as part of our never-ending investigation into the war on degeneracy. Recently, and if the producers may please bring this onto the studio, please, we have seen a rise in toilet infatuations here on Roblox. We have seen players desperately want to play games which involve toilets. This is terrible. This is clearly showing that the quality of games has gone down since society has began. It used to be that people would like suburban roleplay games. Like we're talking games that are based in rural suburban California. We're talking about Row Nation City games. People used to like those. and we have seen people like the usual like obstacle courses and tycoons and work at the pizza place. All those regular front page games are always there. But now recently, the demographics have changed. People are more interested in toilet games. This shows that society is going down the toilet, figuratively speaking, and we need to do everything we can to ensure that the quality of Roblox experiences, as they're called, continues to be of a tremendous quality. But what does this mean, though, for global degeneracy? It clearly shows that degenerates are doing everything they can to hijack quality entertainment by having these toilet games that are out of control. It's being promoted on YouTube. YouTube influencers, which by the way are left-wing inclined, liberal ideologies, they're trying very hard on YouTube to promote this rhetoric to children. And of course, YouTube allows it. Their liberal agenda to deplatform conservative voices has resulted in this. Their demonetizing scheme has resulted in the rise of toilets as the form of entertainment. Clearly, we miss Albert's stuff and his politically incorrect jokes on Roblox. This is just the beginning. And of course, here is yet another segment as part of this investigation, a hangout with, well, I'm not sure what this Roblox experience full title is. We can see from the thumbnail there's some sort of furry femboy of sorts lying on a bed saying in a very seductive manner, "Wanna hang out?" And you can see a wink emoji there, update within the parentheticals. This is just more proof of degeneracy, and it's very troubling. And it shows that as the economy goes down, people are relying on this sort of prostitution actually to make ends meet. This is yet another legacy in the Derby saga. But this is not a I'd say sad ending. We may have a happy ending on the very midst of us. You see, the libertarians have recently taken control of politics here in Parliament Hill. And because of it, they have recently reformed the Department of Finance. They allowed the incorporation of businesses, a database to log businesses and whatnot. And we're going to see a tremendous progress with the economy. And I hope the government works hard in this war on degeneracy. They work hard to boost the economy of Canada, fix global degeneracy, fix the falling economy, because only then can society succeed. And I would like to welcome onto the show tonight the Prime Minister of Canada, who's be speaking on behalf of the Department of Finance and economic downturn, and we can see the pickup happening under his government. Prime Minister, good to see you.
Good afternoon, Rain. I'll come over on set.
I'm glad that you have decided to join us. What do you think of the recent rise in degeneracy here around the world on Roblox experiences? And does this tie into recent reports of people turning to flee the facility as a place to pick up girls and ask them for their Snapchat?
Well, of course, I fight in the war on degeneracy, of course, on the side that's fighting against degeneracy. So I choose not to surround myself with these kinds of experiences. As you said, these games such as Toilet Tower Defense and Ultimate Skibbed Toilet, they just don't really appeal to me in any way, shape, or form, and therefore I choose not to enamor myself with these kinds of pastimes. But
do you consider why do you think people turn to toilet games as a pastime?
We've already touched on the fact that they're probably a degenerate, but maybe it's middle school, elementary school humor. Toilet. Is that funny in some kind of way? I mean, to be fair, ripping ass is funny. To be fair,
yeah, ripping ass.
But there could be a link between those two.
So, but we have recently discovered that ripping ass is a creation of me. It has been patented by me. Does that mean they're stealing my ideas, Prime Minister?
Well, Rain, maybe the question we should be asking is, why aren't these toilet games more your forte? I mean, you get to rip ass in them. I'm sure it's something that would appeal to you.
Well, personally, I would enjoy it myself if, the degenerates in the far left did not completely ruin it, just like they ruined everything. As we have recently discussed in previous segments, the Snow White movie, the Little Mermaid movie. They're all being changed by woke virtue signalers, woke people watching these films. Clearly, it's some sort of cash grab, just like Windows 8, another cash grab of Microsoft, which is a component of big tech, left me technological company. So, Prime Minister, what do you have to say about how they're trying to make these cash grabs clearly and taking advantage of average Canadians?
Rain, I have a question. Do you sincerely believe that the woke far left are hijacking our funny toilet games?
Yes, I am. I'm completely convinced that this may very well be a reality we face.
Well, then I feel like that's something that we'd have in common with the woke far left, and of course, consensus politics is something that we need in this this current climate. You know, like if we can find some common ground with the woke left, then there's some good to be made there.
So, does that mean you would
Sorry to
cooperate
interrupt you there,
with the
Mr.
leader of
Thompson.
the opposition?
I'm receiving an important call to the Prime Minister's office, so I'll just be 1 second.
The Prime Minister has suspended himself recently, so he is taking an important phone call. He is clearly a busy individual. But notice a gentleman who are watching this show right now, and also women. I'm sure there are some women out there who are watching the show as well. Let's ask ourselves this question: how come when I asked him the question of will he cooperate with the opposition, he completely dodged the question? This clearly shows interesting development in his government. But while we wait for him, I'll be more than willing to please welcome Congressman Jim Jordan of the 4th District of Ohio. Congressman, good to have you. You recently become the recently elected Speaker of the House.
Good afternoon.
So how are you?
Just want to inform you, Mr. Thompson, I'm back as well from my important call.
Prime Minister, I'm just going to please ask the congressman to please weigh in on the war on degeneracy and how you just dodged the question about cooperating with the opposition.
Congressman,
Congressman, please.
on the war on
Yes.
degeneracy. Okay. I think that as speaker, I have to be somewhat impartial, but I think that the war on degeneracy is a very true thing, and I'm sad that it is happening. But personally, I enjoy the toilet games. I don't know why you don't, but I love them.
I see. Prime Minister, what do you have to say? The Speaker of the House, the man who stands up for the legislature constitutionally, here he is enjoying the toilet games.
Well, my colleague, the Speaker of the House, is not a woke, far-left degenerate. So this moves on to what I was saying about how we can build some common ground with the people that play these toilet games. Because, Rain, when you invited me on the show and spoke your distaste for the toilet games, I mean, personally, I couldn't relate. I think, yeah, these games are rife with woke degenerates, but at the end of the day, it's funny. So it might not appeal to me individually, but it is a funny thing. Ripping ass is funny, therefore toilet and bathroom humor is funny. So I relate and accept the Speaker of the House's view on toilet games.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister. So if you are willing to cooperate with the woke left, recently your government has been responsible in rebuilding the libertarian agenda here in the finance department, rebuilding the department, trying to make it more organized in the post-Derby world. What do you have to say to Canadians?
About what?
About your progress, what the government has done for the department to try and fix Derby's mess.
Well, we've been in office for all of 1 week. We've already completely reformed the Discord server. We've given a new method to registering businesses, of course, which I thank my Deputy Prime Minister for. We've reinvigorated the Trello, so we're now actually keeping track of businesses. We keep track of each one. Every single one that comes through, we note down, stays in the database for as long as it's a business. We are beginning with our economic forums again. This is something we explored when we were still the SKP. Economic forums with foreign nations is something we're starting to explore. on the whole, we've stabilized the finance department. We've given it a proper spine. We've given it a vertebrae. We've given it a way to operate. We're going to begin hiring civil servants, registrars for the department in the coming days. Overall, we have actually made the department a department. It's not just the Derby circle jerk anymore. It's the Department of Finance.
Prime Minister, during the debate and during the campaign, we saw the leader of the opposition suggest taxing businesses that produce Robux. A certain sum of Robux goes to the group funds of Canada, and not only that, the leader of CanAg suggested acquiring property. Basically, his flagship policy actually was acquiring property just because a group management had houses or something like that. I just would like to weigh in on these topics. Basically, on one hand, you got the leader of CanAg suggesting, I think, free property or something like that, and then you got the leader of the opposition saying there's a so-called revenue problem, even though we have like over $300 in the group funds on the main group alone, and like 20,000 Robux in the Canadian Armed Forces. What revenue problem is there? This is clearly just an attempt by the leader of the opposition to enrich group management. Maybe he wants a medal from the Governor General. Who knows? But you got these two different ideas, and personally, the senator for Saskatchewan suggested that as a compromise, instead of having taxes on businesses in the so-called revenue, and instead of giving out property for free, we should do what other nations do, which is sell property. This will have a normal idea. It's a normal idea for increasing revenue for the group, while also getting businesses their own property, have more accessibility in Simcoe. What do you think of these proposals that have been presented to the Parliament, Prime Minister?
Well, I think the most interesting one that you just mentioned was, of course, Javier's intent to make tax. I think everyone agreed that was retarded. I think that lost him a fair few votes. I don't know how you're going to tax Roblox businesses and expect to get away with it with even the slightest popularity still intact. Like, this guy must have... I feel like he hit his head. Like, when he was in the policy-making room for the Conservative Party and they were coming up with this shit, I feel like he genuinely hit his head. And then
I would caution the rhetoric, Prime Minister. We may get, deplatformed for 3 days again, because this guy, this guy, he will cry to moderation, even though he shit talks us on a regular basis. But
Rain, I'm not attacking him personally. I'm attacking his party. Okay. I'm saying his party are retarded. Okay. And,
thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, no worries. His party is retarded for coming up with that policy, and this is why they have 4 seats and I have 9. And why do I have 9? I think I have 9. Glazed.
Yeah, 9.
You're speaking now. We have. Oh yeah, cool. We still have 9. That's why I have 9 seats, and he has 4. That's why I'm in government, and he isn't. So.
And what do you have to say about the property topics mentioned by the leader of CanAg?
I don't pay attention to anything the leader of CanAg says. I'll be honest with you. It's not.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean,
I'll be honest with you. This property policy is completely new to me. It's novel to me. I've never ever heard of this before. I'll be honest with you. I did not do any research into CanAg's platform. I didn't read any of their campaign posts. I do not care about their platform. To be honest with you, I do not care.
Well, that's your right, Prime Minister. You choose to do whatever you want when negotiating with the parties in Parliament. Anyway, Congressman, you have recently had the pleasure of becoming the Speaker of the House. You were elected in bipartisan manner. You were elected, in fact, unopposed. That shows that the House of Commons unanimously entrust you as the Speaker of the House. Do you have any plans for this upcoming term? I know for a fact that last term you wanted to do surgeries. I was wondering if you wanted to continue on that plan for this term.
I think host a parliamentary open day at some point this term, allowing Canadians to see the work of the House and understand it better so that they can hopefully become more involved.
Thank you for that, Congressman, and thank you, Prime Minister, both of you, for being here on the show and weighing in on what we expect to see from this new term. Right now, we're going to move on to a next segment. It's the immigration detainee who has been unlawfully and blatantly, immorally detained in immigration services. I'm pleased to have him as my private secretary now, once again. continuing to serve this country despite the immigration troubles. We'll be seeing him after this commercial break. Thank you very much. Welcome again to this special edition of Thompson, or also known as Rain Thompson tonight. We had a bit of a commercial break there. I'm glad that staff got their, required 1 hour break every 2 hours. We've been here for the last several hours here in the studio. Of course, you guys did not notice that we've been here for hours, but we were having too much fun. Anyway, we'll be having a victim of the Immigration Canada Department here with us tonight. A victim. He has been a victim of the devastating economy. He'll be weighing in on the discussions. He is completely traumatized by how the government has treated him on his attempt to be a citizen here in Canada. As you can see from his face, he cannot even take his sunglasses off indoors. His face is the face of depresso. And he is wearing a Reddington hat. This just goes to show we got an individual here who has suffered immensely from the immigration department, the immigration authorities. Mr. Sawyer, good to have you again on the show tonight.
Yes, good afternoon.
I'm glad to see that you're doing well somewhat. Are you still traumatized by how the immigration department has treated you?
Well, I've started to consult with about 5 different therapists since that day, and have been prescribed on a couple of medications to start taking, and the therapy has definitely been something. I will say that much. But it has
So
been
when the
quite the time.
National Fire and Paramedic Service found you and decided to give you the emergency care, I know for a fact the Senate offices of Rain Thompson helped you with getting the medical care you need. Is this true?
Yes, yes, and the senator himself even assisted in my care, as some may know. He helps volunteer his time for the fire and paramedic service when he's not representing the great people of Saskatchewan. And yeah, I was in good hands.
That's great. So you are currently the private secretary for the senator. You have tried to immigrate into this country where you were, your house was seized. They framed you as an alt. Of course, this all happened when Derby was the Minister of Immigration. Happened on his watch. This is again part of the war on degeneracy's effect on long-term average everyday Canadians when we see these degenerates take over immigration, take over the economy, and we see you negatively impacted by it. So what do you have to say about the economy? Do you consider your economic situation to be going up ever since Derby has been ousted from office?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, since my immigration issue was resolved, I was able to return to my Ottawa house and get back on my feet. And thanks to the lovely uh, economical elements of this ministry going on here, I was able to successfully financially recover and get back to where I was before the Derby administration immigration officials denied my immigration and put me through what they put me through.
I see. And would you like to say that your economic situation, they have described you as on the level of borderline poverty when you entered this country, but now you are perhaps one of the richest Canadians we have ever witnessed. All of this under the general guidance and profit that have happened under Valor's ministry. What do you have to say about your recent turn of events?
Well, I will say I'm very fortunate to have raised my capital as much as I have. You know, working with the now senator for past half decade. Haven't seen anything quite like it since uh, I've been a part of this country under Prime Minister Valor. Be quite frank.
That is great, and as you know, you have managed to serve the senator for half a decade, and you have seen the world transform around you during that time. In fact, we have seen, again, toilet games and other elements plaguing the Roblox experiences. You yourself are a fan of traditional suburban lifestyle here on Roblox. What do you have to say about this recent turn of events with the toilet games and whatnot?
Yeah, well, during my, I had my 2 year period of isolation where I worked from home, and in that back before I went on isolation, I think at that time the top game was Adopt Me all over the homepage. And I thought that was bad, but you know, I was supposed to each their own. But when I came back and saw what I see now on the front page, it seemed like it's devolved even more. And I mean, I don't know, everyone has their interests, but the degeneracy of it all has made quite a toll over the years, it seems.
And what do you have to say about the Hangout with a Friend game that we have seen also emerge in popularity alongside the toilet games?
Well, I think it's a recipe for disaster, especially with the large population of degenerates in this community in Roblox itself. Uh, I myself wouldn't partake in it, and I don't think anyone in their right mind should partake in that kind of degeneracy that is promoted in games like that. And I think that, you know, back in my day, we had hangout games of that sorts, but it wasn't fueled by leftist degeneracy that has since ruined all these games today.
Indeed, and once again, we see this is just the second part of the Roblox Tinder crisis that we see here. Well, thank you again, Mr. Sawyer, for being with us today. It is great to have you, as always, being a TWR commentator, of course, sharing your experiences as a victim of the deep state and whatnot. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we're going to be having a call in from the Attorney General of Ireland. He'll be calling in right now shortly to weigh in on recent events that have happened in Ireland. Of course, Ireland is a faraway country from here in Canada, so of course, viewers watching tonight, we need to know that these people are, it's a foreign country, and I can't believe that they're weighing in on Canadian affairs. Attorney General, pleased to have you.
Hello. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. I actually want to start off right at the bat. We have seen recent treason cases in Ireland. What happened there?
Well, you see, two very bad individuals were getting away with not really murder, but they were damn close. It was more treason, but you know yourself. And they were getting away with it. And we put our foots down and we said, this isn't happening. We're not going to let this happen anymore. Ireland is not a home for treasonous. And you know what we did? You know what we did, Rain?
What did you do?
We put them behind bars for over 100 days. That's what we did.
I see, and as a result, they got banned recently, I believe, and they've been sent effectively to Canada, where they're now Canada's problem. Why is Ireland sending their worst over here, and why do we have to pay for it?
Do you know what? I completely understand where you're coming from, but I can assure you, we didn't send them there. Guess what? They're immigrants, okay? I have nothing against immigrants, but these two individuals, they're horrible people. Horrible.
They're going to poison our political system
I
now
know.
that they're
It's
here on
disgraceful.
Canadian shores.
It's
It's
disgraceful.
disgusting.
I think you should get onto the group administration, get them banned immediately.
Yes,
They're
I
not
mean,
welcome in any country on the face of this
yeah.
planet. That is my thought.
I think this may very well be a us against them sort of situation. Wouldn't you agree?
I would 100% agree. They are not welcome at all. I think get them out, get them gone.
Do you
Build a
think
wall if
they're
you have to.
do you think they're trying whatever they can to replace professional native Canadians in public workplaces and replacing them with their own colleagues and unskilled associates?
That's all they know. All they know is importing, in industrialization and destroying. They will destroy Canada, and they have destroyed Ireland, and we are rebuilding. They've left us with a
Oh,
pile of
oh, I
rubble, and
see.
I don't
You
want
just
to
you
see
you
that.
just said importing. Do they
Yes,
import?
yes. There has been proven cases of electoral fraud where imported voters have been an issue within those two individuals.
You know, it's funny because recently I'm going to be starting an investigation on the importing cases in Canada with certain individuals who were caught importing as is. Maybe this could be part of the investigation. We would love you to testify and offer evidence, and perhaps once there is proven evidence of such, we can administer the necessary decisions to get rid of them from this blessed land.
Rain, I am a man of justice and I would never ever object to obstructing justice, and I will always ensure that justice is served to those who deserve it. So I would 100% love to assist in their prosecution here in Canada.
Splendid. And Attorney General, what do you have to say? What else do you have to say to weigh in on this work that we see in Ireland as we move in a post McGrath world, so to speak?
Well, I can tell you, it's been never this peaceful. I've never seen no arguments in general chat in a day. We've gone now, however long it's been since they've been banned, with no arguments. Zero. Everyone is loving it. There has no one has objected to their removal from the community, and no one. And you can ask the community, you can ask anyone. No one has objected to it. And if they do object to it, I can tell you what, they're wrong. They're stupid. They're silly, and they're wrong.
So it seems like the departure of Fossilio and Michael have been a similar case in Ireland, like how we got rid of Derby here in Canada. It's interesting. I'm looking at the Ireland Discord right now, and I just see people calling each other pal. It's very peaceful, actually, in that regard. We got people calling each other pal. We got people having friendly conversations. This is great. This shows that if you remove degenerates from society, we can go back to the traditional, I guess. What do I say? The traditional nuclear family model with traditional values and no more degeneracy.
100%. This is a clear showcase of when you remove the bad apples, suddenly all the apples you're growing are fresh. They're beautiful and they're edible. Remove the two and you suddenly have a much more peaceful community and much more members who want to do things, who want to participate in meaningful ways, and who actually care and aren't driven by personal agendas or wanting to support some communist dictator from another country that has nothing to do with the current country they're in.
Well, I'm glad you have shown a light in the tunnel, so to speak, in this war on degeneracy. We can see degeneracy being cleaned out in Ireland. We hope to see degeneracy cleaned out in other places as well. Thank you for stopping by, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. It's been
Thank
a pleasure.
you. And you should call back again sometime in the future.
I will do. I'll have your number on speed dial.
Thank you. Now that we have heard recent progress with the war on degeneracy, we hope that Canada can employ the tactics that the kind-hearted Attorney General of Ireland have provided for us here on the show. We will, of course, employ these mechanisms and strategies to help build a better community. And the only way we can do that is by ensuring that degeneracy stops in its tracks. So, with that in mind, as you tune in to this show tonight and any other news network you see, as well as looking at the government feed, just remember that there are people who will lie to you. There will be people who are untruthful. However, there will always be truth in the war on degeneracy. Thank you. And we'll be back on Sunday this week. Thank you and have a good night.